Welcome to the Prescott Lab podcast, not just theory, practical science for everyone. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, a physician and integrative medicine researcher at the Ravenshade Institute for Human Health. And today, I want to speak directly to the men out there, the ones who have been waking up with less and wondering quietly, is this just how it goes now? If you've noticed your mornings feel weaker, your body slower, your spark fading, let me be clear. It's not just age, and it's not your fault. But what we uncover today might just change how your mornings feel and how you carry yourself through the rest of your life. Now, before we dive in, I want to ask you to do something small but meaningful. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that button right now. And if you still believe that your best years can begin again, then give this video a like. Why? Because I've seen it too many times to doubt it anymore. The men who tap that like button, they tend to sleep better, think clearer, and yes, sometimes wake up with a little more strength where it counts. Is it science? Maybe. Is it luck? Could be, but I call it sending a signal to your body, to your spirit, to the universe that says, I'm not done yet. So hit that like button and drop a quick 1 in the comments if you're with me. Or a 0 if you're not feeling it. Either way, I read every single one. And may your click bring clarity to your mind, courage to your heart, and flow to your mornings. All right, let's begin. Because the real reason most men over 60 lose their edge might not be in your hormones, might not be in your heart, it might be in your breakfast. 1. Why your morning meal may be damaging blood flow to your penis. A man came to see me last fall, 64 years old, walked every morning, healthy weight, never smoked. Well, he looked me straight in the eye and asked, Doc, how come I'm doing everything right, but I wake up feeling like nothing's there anymore? He wasn't joking or embarrassed, just confused because in his mind he'd checked all the boxes. So I asked him a question most doctors never ask. What do you eat for breakfast? He furrowed his brow. Just cereal, maybe some toast. Pancakes on Sundays with my wife. That answer told me everything. You see, most men, especially in their 60s, assume that a drop in performance is all about testosterone. And yes, hormones matter. But what I've seen again and again is something more fundamental: circulation. Your penis doesn't just respond to hormones or desire. It runs on pressure, blood flow. And the vessels responsible, they're tiny, thinner than a strand of hair, which means they're the first to go when inflammation rises. Now think about the standard American breakfast: sugary cereal, white toast, syrupy pancakes, processed sausage. Comfort on the tongue, but quietly toxic inside the arteries. These foods spike blood sugar, trigger inflammation, and reduce nitric oxide, the molecule that opens blood vessels. Over time, that routine stiffens your arteries, thickens your blood, and slowly shuts down the smallest vessels, the ones that matter most. And the worst part, no one talks about it. Your doctor may ask about cholesterol or blood pressure, but rarely what's on your plate at 8:00 a.m. I often tell my patients, you're trying to light a fire with wet wood. If your breakfast is full of refined sugars and processed carbs, your body starts the day inflamed, confused, and shut down where it counts. But here's the hopeful part. The very thing that's been sabotaging you may also be what saves you. Because just like food can harm, food can also heal. There's one simple, natural food, a nut you've probably walked past 100 times, that I've seen reboot this entire system in just days. And that's exactly what I want to show you next. 2. The number one nut that rebuilds blood flow down there. Someone left a comment the other day, Dr. Prescott, walnuts? Really? How can a nut fix what pills can't? Fair question, and one I've heard more times than I can count. Most men over 60 don't look to their kitchen for performance answers. They look to doctors, bottles, and prescriptions. But here's the thing, what if your solution doesn't come in a box but in a shell? Because the walnut, plain, wrinkled, often overlooked, is one of the most powerful circulation foods I've ever studied. Let's talk science. Walnuts are rich in L-arginine, a critical amino acid that helps your body produce nitric oxide. the gas that relaxes blood vessels and allows blood to flow, especially to the places that matter most. Without nitric oxide, the pipeline closes. No matter how much desire you have, blood can't get where it needs to go. But when you feed your body arginine daily, even from something as simple as 7 walnut halves, you begin building pressure from the inside out. The kind that doesn't rely on pills but on biology. One of my patients, Greg, 68, retired quietly frustrated, gave it a try. No pills, no drama, just walnuts, water, and a short morning walk. 2 weeks later, he returned and smiled before saying a word. "Doc, it came back. I didn't expect it, but there it was." And that's the beauty of giving your system what it understands. No side effects, no strain, just flow. But walnuts don't just help in one area. They're also loaded with omega-3s, magnesium, and plant sterols, which support heart health, balance hormones, and reduce inflammation across your entire system. This isn't hype. It's repair, one small habit that says to your body, it's safe to wake up again. So tell me this, have you ever changed something in your diet and actually felt the difference? Type yes or no in the comments. I'll be reading because this is your podcast too. And in the next part, I'll show you exactly how to turn this simple food into a full morning flow routine, the rhythm that makes real change stick. 3. How blood flow works in men over 60. Most men think performance issues start with hormones, testosterone, libido, age, but in truth, it starts with your circulation. And no part of your body reveals that faster than your penis. Not your heart, not your memory, because the arteries down there, they're the smallest, most delicate highways in your entire system. And like any road, when there's traffic, damage, or narrowing, the flow stops first at the thinnest points. I once had a patient, Lewis, 66 years old. Good labs, clear EKG, no shortness of breath. But still no morning erections, no spark, and a quiet sense that something was slipping away. What was wrong? Nothing obvious. But beneath the surface, years of sugar, stress, and processed food had taken their toll. His arteries had stiffened. His nitric oxide, the molecule that opens vessels, had slowed to a trickle. And the signals that once said, "Wake up, perform, engage," were barely whispers. You see, your blood flow is like a river. When it's young, it rushes strong, bending with ease. But over time, it dries, clogs, and cracks, unless you feed it, move it, respect it. This is why men lose that edge, that pressure, that readiness, not from aging alone, but from years of silent blockage. And here's what most don't realize, it's reversible. You can train your vessels just like your muscles. You can wake the river again, not with force, not with chemicals, but with rhythm, with the right food, with conscious breath and early movement. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about restoring flow, not just in your body, but in your sense of self. And that flow begins every morning, which is exactly what I'll help you rebuild next. 4. Walnuts versus pills, the science of real performance. I've seen the look too many times. A man walks into my office holding a bottle. Maybe it's blue pills. Maybe a box of supplements he bought online at 2 a.m. His words say hope, but his eyes say doubt. And I don't blame him. Most of what's sold to men over 60 isn't medicine. It's desperation packaged. Do they work? Sometimes. But ask any man who's been on them long enough and you'll hear the truth. It's not the performance that fades, it's the confidence. Because when you need a pill to feel like a man, some part of you starts questioning whether you still are one. And here's what makes it worse. Those pills often force the body to respond, pressure spikes, tension, side effects. So when what the body really needed was support, not demand. That's why I bring it back to the walnut. It doesn't promise fireworks. It doesn't come with a glossy label or dramatic claims. But what it does, quietly, consistently, is feed the very system that performance depends on. Walnuts are rich in L-arginine, which your body uses to make nitric oxide, the signal your arteries need to open and allow flow. They also bring magnesium to relax your vessels, omega-3s to calm inflammation, plant sterols to gently balance hormones. No crash, no artificial rush, just a slow return to something real. I had a patient ex-Marine mid-70s who tried every booster on the market. And after I explained this, he looked down, shook his head, and said, "You know, Doc, no one ever told me I wasn't broken, just underfed." And that stuck with me because he was right. What most men need isn't another shortcut. They need fuel, they need rhythm. And above all, they need permission to stop fighting their own biology. That's what walnuts offer, a way back to yourself, not overnight, not with noise, but with quiet daily power. And if you're ready to feel that power again, the next step is to build your morning around it. 5. The morning power routine. Reboot your circulation. There's a rhythm to healing. And if you're over 60, that rhythm starts the moment you open your eyes. Forget magic pills, forget overnight fixes. What your body wants is consistency. That's what I gave Thomas, 67, retired contractor. He came in with that quiet look I know all too well. The look of a man who still wants to feel like himself but isn't sure how. I didn't give him a prescription. I gave him a rhythm, and 2 weeks later he walked in straighter, eyes clearer, shoulders relaxed. "Doc," he said, "it's coming back, not just down there, all of it." Here's exactly what I told him and what I now tell you. Within 30 minutes of waking, 7 to 10 raw walnut halves, not roasted, not salted, just clean, natural, chew slowly. Let your body recognize nourishment when it shows up. 2. 1 glass of warm water, squeeze in lemon. Add a pinch of mineral salt. You're not just hydrating, you're signaling your blood vessels. Wake up, stay open. 3. 5 minutes of gentle movement. Walk slowly. Roll your shoulders, breathe deep into your belly. This isn't about burning calories. It's about telling your circulation we're moving today. 4. Eat clean, whole food. 1 boiled egg, a few avocado slices, maybe spinach with olive oil, no sugar, no white flour, no chemicals. Think fuel, not fluff, that's it. No gym, no gadgets, no guilt, just rhythm, because when your body knows what to expect, it begins to trust you again. And when that trust builds, the blood follows. The mornings return. And little by little, so does the man you remember being. But here's what surprises most men, that walnut routine. It doesn't just wake up your performance. It wakes up your whole system. And that's exactly what we'll talk about next. 6. More than erections. 5 unexpected benefits of walnuts for men over 60. A man left a comment on one of our videos a few weeks ago. He wrote, "Doc, I started eating walnuts like you said. Honestly. I was hoping for, but what shocked me was how clear my head's been lately. I actually remember where I parked my truck. I laughed when I read it, not because it was funny, but because it was true. Performance is what gets men into the walnut habit. But what keeps them there is everything else. Because here's what most guys don't know. When blood starts flowing again, really flowing, it's not just one part of you that wakes up. It's all of you. Let's walk through it. 1. Sharper thinking. Walnuts are rich in polyphenols, compounds shown to improve memory and protect neurons. Many of my patients tell me they feel mentally quicker, less foggy. Like their thoughts have traction again. 2. Heart protection. Omega-3s in walnuts help lower LDL cholesterol and reduce arterial inflammation. The very inflammation that over time steals both your energy and your confidence. 3. Better mood and stress control. Thanks to their high magnesium content, walnuts support calm, regulate cortisol, and ease irritability. You're not just functioning better, you're reacting better. 4. Natural testosterone support. With zinc and plant sterols, walnuts support hormonal balance not artificially but at the root level. And when your hormones steady out, so does your drive. 5. Prostate health. The anti-inflammatory effects extend to your lower pelvis, helping reduce swelling, ease pressure, and support healthy urine flow. Subtle? Maybe. But ask any man with BPH and you'll know how big that subtle really is. So let me ask you this. Have you noticed any surprising effects since trying walnuts, something beyond the bedroom? Let me know in the comments, even if it's small. Because sometimes the small signs mean you're headed somewhere good. In the next part, I'll show you how one simple breakfast mistake can cancel all of this out. and how to avoid it for good. 7. The one breakfast mistake that blocks all your progress. I wish I didn't have to say this part, but I've seen it happen too many times. A man starts strong, he eats the walnuts, drinks the lemon water, moves his body. And for a week or two, everything feels promising. He's firmer in the mornings, more energy, more connection with his partner. He thinks, maybe I'm turning a corner. And then just like that, it fades, not completely, but enough to raise that old question again, why is it slipping? So I ask him the same way I ask all my patients when this happens. What else are you eating for breakfast? And that's usually when it clicks. Because here's the truth most men don't realize. You can't mix clean fuel with poison and expect your engine to run. When you pair circulation-boosting foods like walnuts with sugary yogurt, frosted cereal, white toast, or boxed orange juice, you're doing two things at once. You're trying to open the gate with one hand and slamming it shut with the other. These foods spike your blood sugar fast. Then comes the insulin surge, the inflammation, the arterial stiffness. And where does that inflammation hit first? The smallest vessels. The ones responsible for the very thing you're trying to restore. It's like trying to water your garden through a hose, then pouring cement into it while the tap is on. Nothing flows. And most men don't even notice they're doing it. They think it's just a blueberry muffin, just a little orange juice. But at this stage of life, a little can make all the difference. That's why I always say, clean fuel only, whole. Natural, unprocessed. Let the walnuts do their job. Let your blood vessels breathe. Let your system start each day without needing to fight the very thing you just gave it. Because when you get your mornings right, your body listens. And when it listens long enough, it begins to trust again. In the next part, I'll show you exactly how long that trust takes to rebuild, and what early signs tell me as a doctor that a man's body is finally turning the corner. 8. How long does it take to see results? This is the question every man wants to ask but almost never says out loud. How long until I feel like myself again, and I get it? When you've spent months or years feeling off, disconnected, or numb, you're not looking for miracles. You just want to know there's light at the end of this tunnel. That the small things you're doing, these walnuts, this water, this breath, are actually taking you somewhere. So let me tell you the truth. Not hype, not wishful thinking. Just what I've seen over and over in real men, real time. If you stick to the rhythm, walnuts, hydration, movement, clean food, you may start noticing subtle shifts within the first 7 days. Not fireworks, but maybe you wake up a little earlier, maybe you feel more grounded, maybe your bathroom flow is stronger or your walk has a little more spring. It's quiet but real. By the second week, the signals usually get stronger, deeper sleep, a clearer head, a slight return of sensation down there and in your presence. You feel yourself coming back into your body. And by week 4, that's when the rhythm takes root. I've had patients come in and say, Doc, I don't just feel better, I feel capable again. That word means everything. It doesn't mean everything is fixed. It means the system has remembered what it's supposed to do. Now here's something important. Healing is not a straight line. Some days will feel better than others. You might take a step forward, then one back. That's normal. That's human. What matters isn't perfection, it's consistency. Because when your body sees the same clear signal every morning, it responds. And when it responds often enough, it starts to trust you again. That's when the real magic happens. Not because you forced anything, but because you returned daily, gently, and without quitting. In the next part, I'll show you what happens if you do quit, if the rhythm breaks, and why that risk is more real than most men realize. 9. What happens if you stop? I wish progress lasted forever. I wish momentum, once earned, stayed on autopilot, but the truth is quieter and more fragile. I've seen it in men who began to glow again, energy returning. Morning strength waking up. They looked alive, present in a way they hadn't felt in years. And then life got in the way, a few missed mornings, a trip, a cold, a slip, the rhythm broke. When they came back, their words were almost always the same. Doc, I didn't think missing a few days would matter, but it's like everything faded again. They were right. Because after 60, your circulation doesn't just need support, it needs reminders. Consistent, daily, unmistakable signals that say, oh yes, we're still in this. When you stop, even just for a few days, your body listens. And it says, oh, maybe we're done. The nitric oxide slows, the inflammation returns, the arteries tighten. And that quiet trust your system was beginning to rebuild, it hesitates again, not because your body is punishing you, but because it's cautious. Because at this age, survival has outranked performance for too long. I had a patient, Jack, 72, he told me. When I was doing the routine, I felt strong. But after 10 days off, it was like my body forgot everything I'd gained. And that's exactly what happens. Not in one day, but slowly, quietly, like a tide going out before you even realize the water's missing. This isn't about perfection. It's about respecting rhythm, because the male body after 60, it can come back to life fully, powerfully, but only if you keep showing up. In the next part, I want to talk about something even deeper. It's not just your biology, but your identity. Because for many men, the real loss hasn't been function, it's been dignity. And that's what we need to reclaim. 10 From Shame to Strength, Rebuilding Masculinity After 60. I've sat across from hundreds of men, tough men, gentle men, fathers, soldiers, widowers, and I can tell you the weight of silence is heavier than most pain. They don't come in and say, Doc, I feel ashamed. They say things like, I just don't feel like myself anymore. Or worse, I avoid looking at her now because I don't want to disappoint her again. And there's no anger in their voices, only a kind of quiet grief, not because they've lost something physical, but because they've lost something internal, that sense of being himself, rooted, capable, connected. And when that fades, it doesn't just hurt in the bedroom. It ripples out into confidence, into relationships, into the way a man holds his shoulders or meets his own eyes in the mirror. But here's what I've learned after 30 years of listening. That feeling, that slipping of identity is not permanent. When blood starts flowing again, when mornings returns, when sensation and connection begin to reawaken, a man doesn't just become more sexual. He becomes more himself. He stands taller. He laughs easier. He looks at his wife not with guilt but with recognition. He stops apologizing for aging and starts honoring the fact that he's still here and still whole. I remember one man saying to me, Doc, it's not even about performance anymore. It's about not feeling like a ghost. And that's the transformation we're really after, because this journey. It's not just about nitric oxide or blood flow or testosterone. It's about reclaiming your place in your own story. One walnut, one breath, one morning at a time. And now that we've come this far, there's only one thing left to do. Bring it all together into a final prescription, one you can follow starting tomorrow. 11 Final prescription and final thoughts, a way back to life. If you were sitting across from me right now, maybe with your hands folded, maybe with that quiet look in your eyes, this is what I'd say to you, not as your doctor, but as a man who's walked beside thousands of men like you. You're not broken, you're not done, you're just in need of rhythm, so here's your final prescription. Tomorrow morning and every morning after that, do this. Eat 7 to 10 raw walnut halves, not fancy, not flavored, just real. Drink 1 glass of warm water with lemon and a pinch of mineral salt. Let it wake your blood, move for 5 minutes. Gently, breathe like you mean it. Then eat a light, clean breakfast. A boiled egg, some avocado, a handful of greens, fuel not filler, that's it. No pills, no programs, just presence, just you showing up for yourself before the world even knocks on the door. And if you do this not once, but with consistency, your body will hear you, your circulation will respond. And with time, your strength will return, not just in the bedroom, but in your eyes, your voice, your soul. Because this isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming something even more powerful, your dignity. If this message meant something to you, even a little, I ask one thing like this video. Maybe that small action is the signal your own body has been waiting for. Maybe it tells the algorithm that content for men like you matters. Leave a comment, even just one word, ready, because I read every single one. And your story deserves to be heard. And if you know a man, a brother, a friend, a father who's been fading quietly, share this with him. Maybe that's the moment he starts coming back to life too. You're not too old. You're not invisible. You're not done, you're just getting started.